Alright, hey guys, today we're looking at the Attackpak series and concept, specifically the Stealth Pack. So you can see you've got it worn over a, JPC 2.0 here, and it's going to be kind of tricky to see it back there, but there's a pocket back here that the frame sheet rides in, and you can, at least in the version I have, you can slip that over any duty belt. So I have it on my Ronin belt here, but just wanted to show you kind of how it sits right now, and then I'll go over the pack and a couple of the concerns that I have with this thing, so that you can know how it works with kit if you decide to try this route. All right, guys. Hopefully I got everything in frame here. I haven't done a full-size Ruck video yet, at least not at this angle. So we'll see how it works. All right. So first thing we're looking at here is we've got our, I'm calling it the cup. I don't know what Attackpak calls it, but it's this sleeve that slides over my duty belt. Now they make, if I remember right, they make dedicated belts that have a pocket in it. At one point in time they had a Molly on cup, and this one slides over the duty belt, so you can get it sized for different belts and whatnot. It's got some loop here, so if you had a inner belt that was hook out, it would attach to that and really keep it nice and secure. It does have a Molly face on it. I probably should have taken this pouch off for the video, but it fits 90-22 with its kind of goofy Molly spacing on there pretty well. And then you can see the little pocket there that the pack frame goes into. This is really well made. Like, it is super reinforced. It's got some HDPE in there for rigidity. It's a really well made pocket. The problem is, on me, it rides too low, and without using these side release buckles attached to the actual pack body, I can't keep the pack frame in there. All right, looking at the Ruck, we'll start on the back here. So you've got your yoke, and it has some adjustment to it. I have mine completely maxed. I have the sheet as low as it goes. I have the shoulder harness as high as it goes. Granted, that's to go over a plate carrier, so don't take this as me saying it's not going to fit a normal size human being as is. Without a plate carrier, normal size human being, it should fit fine. All right. When you've got this thing on here, the pack frame fully seated sits about there, and then these side release buckles go up and hit their corresponding partner that sits just under the pack frame here. Okay, and that's how you lock this thing in, at which point you have a traditional Ruck. So is it worth the cost for a traditional Ruck? I can't answer that question for you, but something to consider. Okay. The frame sheet's well made. Everything on here is stitched pretty well. It's made in America, so I don't have any complaints about that. You've got some quick release buckles here, so if you really need to get this thing off right now, you can. Granted, these things are a pain to get to. If they had a better solution for that, I would say this is a win, hands down. All right, flipping this thing over. This, again, is their Stealth Pack. So, you know, if the pockets on here don't quite do it for you, or the layout doesn't work, please look at the other models they have. They have just a Molly frame sheet, or a Molly cover for their frame sheet, which that one, I could see that having a little bit more utility. You probably don't have as much weight on it. If it pops out of that frame sheet, you're all right. But it gives you some flexibility in kind of a cool package. All right. So looking at this thing, you've got two pockets on the face of this. I will say I've put this thing through a couple of training ops, and I've used it on some good distance Rucks. I don't like where these pockets are. I wish they were right up on the zipper, because they kind of get in the way of the top compression strap here, and they just don't fit quite right on the pack. I wish they went all the way down to this bottom seam and were as close to the zipper as practical. I think you would get a lot more utility out of them. I also wish they were sized for Nalgene's. You can get one in there, but it's a little too tall, so you've got your lid sticking up. All right, looking at the lid here, it's got a good sized pocket up here. It goes front and back, so it's not great for small, dense items, especially in the dark, because basically no matter how you set this thing down, you're at risk for them coming out. Like this, you know, fall out that way, and then if you've got it standing up, whatever's on top will fall out. But it's really good for like signal panel maps and light layers that are fairly bulky and are going to keep themselves in there well. Right. As you open this up, you've got another small pocket inside the lid. This one's just secured with Velcro. You've got a center zip, which I really like having the center zip. It makes getting into your heavier items a little bit easier, for sure. And then you have a storm collar here that you can tighten at both the bottom and the top. That works really well. And there is a bladder pocket in there with a hanger, right? The sides do have some MOLLE on them. You can see there's 3 columns, 5 rows. So you've got some options to put some equipment on the outside of the thing if you need to. And then you've got provisions here for doing compression straps, possibly. If those were intended for something else, I don't know what it was. It doesn't come with any compression straps, at least mine didn't. I would prefer some compression straps be available because I'm not a huge fan of putting the entire brunt of the load onto a zipper. But that said, I haven't had this fail using it in training operations with actual equipment in there as opposed to just weight. So I can't really complain there. And then, you know, the last little thing that would be nice is some sort of a pocket on the side here so that I could run a longer item. It doesn't need to fit, you know, an Nalgene, just some sort of little cup there so that I can put something in there and then use the compression straps to secure it in place. I think that's kind of lacking as far as me getting the most value possible out of this thing. So hopefully you guys learned a little bit about the Attackpak Stealth Pack, and more specifically about the concept as a whole, with the separate belt that ties into the pack frame. I will say, if you watch the Attackpak videos, they explain it perhaps a little bit better than I do, but the way it's sold by them as being a more comfortable pack system, I would strongly disagree with. A traditional Ruck that's fitted to you, whether it be something designed to go over body armor or not, is significantly more comfortable than this thing. I'm not saying it's uncomfortable, but the whole frame sheet belt marriage being sold as a better idea sans the ability to run it as a gun belt and ditch the pack, I think is a miss. I don't know why they sold it that way. They should have sold it as a warfighting backpack that you can keep your actual duty belt and use it with the pack. All right. Anyways, I appreciate your time. Probably got some more coming after this depending on how I edit it. So I apologize if I've restated things or I did this in the wrong order. But thanks guys, and I appreciate you watching the videos. Alright, so one of the main advantages of the Attackpak is this cup that the frame sheet rides in, and the separation between it and the waist belt. However, in concept it's awesome. In practice, it's a little iffy. And the reason why, and hopefully I've already shown you this, is there's 2 side release buckles back here that lock the cup into or lock the frame sheet into the cup, and you'll notice you can get it undone, but it's a real pain. So I can't get it right now, and I definitely couldn't get it under stress. So essentially what we've done is we've taken a two-part system that's supposed to be modular and locked it together. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to reset, disconnect those buckles ahead of time, and show you how I like to run this, and then why that causes some concerns. Okay, so I've popped the two side release buckles. You can see one of them hanging down here. And what that does is now this is an actual two-part system. Okay, so you've got the frame sheet tucked into the pocket. It's in there, and it's definitely taking some weight off my shoulders, so it's working the way it's supposed to. Now, the problem that I have with this thing is I have the frame sheet maxed out with depth, all right? And I've got my belt up about as high as I can wear it, using it as a trouser belt, which is kind of the whole selling point to this thing. So you'll notice that if I have to bend over for whatever reason, that tongue pops out of the cup, right? You can get it back in there pretty well, and it's doing its job again. But there's not much in there. And you saw, I hardly have to move at all for that to come out. So if I could go an entire ruck without, this 15 degrees of bend, it might be all right. But you can see, getting it seated back in there is not super easy, not super intuitive, and it's not really all the way in there. If I didn't have this 90-22 back here catching the pack, I don't know if I could actually get it deep enough in the cup, wearing it over a plate carrier, to actually take any weight off my shoulders. Now I do have kind of a long torso, so it might work if you've got a short torso, but in all reality, this pack frame is not long enough to do what this thing's supposed to do. Now the plus side is, it's taking some weight off my shoulders, and if I need to access something in my ruck, I can undo my shoulder straps, and the pack is off, and I still have my first line on, which is cool. There's pros and cons there. I don't have to tuck my actual first line on my ruck, or I don't have to pare it down to the point that I can have a ruck waist belt over it. In theory, your first line is the waist belt for the ruck, but as you can see, you either lock it in there to the point that it works, or you take those side release buckles off ahead of time, and then it's a gamble as to whether or not you have enough pack frame to actually sit in that cup. All right, so with that said, hopefully you guys got something out of this. Hopefully I put this together in the right order that it makes sense, and hopefully I covered all the features on this particular pack in enough detail to actually help you guys out. Appreciate your time. Thanks for watching.